All right, so this is part 2 of area that we're talking about. So today we're looking at parallelograms and triangles. We're going to start with parallelograms. Parallelograms, they sound pretty fancy, and there are really a lot of letters in them, but they're not that hard to deal with. A parallelogram basically means all sides are parallel. Parallel means they will never touch. They will go on and 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 on, and they will never meet because they will keep going straight. But perpendicular is when they do meet. So a parallelogram could be a rectangle, could be a square. Squares and rectangles are described as parallelograms, but whenever we're actually talking about a parallelogram, it means this shape. It's sort of like somebody took the top of the rectangle and kind of pushed it off to the side. And when we're measuring a parallelogram, we no longer do length times width. We do base times height, which is literally length times width. So in a parallelogram, area equals base times height. So this right here, that's your base. And then this right here, it's always going to be represented as a dotted line. That is your height. Now, there's a really complicated way that I could explain this to you. If we were to take this little piece here where the dotted line is and cut on that dotted line and pick up this piece and then add it over here, basically, I would have a full-on rectangle, right? It's just a regular old rectangle. And now the height part where that dotted line is a corner, is the one side of it. So it looks complicated, and it looks like you don't understand exactly what you're supposed to do because there's this weird line in the middle and it's sideways. But guys, literally, you're doing base times height. You're doing length times width. That's it. So if in this case, my base is 9 and my height is 4, what am I going to do to solve it? 9 times 4, and that's it. That's it. So they may look a little freaky and weird with these dotted lines in the middle and you're not quite sure. You just do the same thing, base times height. So if I have a parallelogram, that is 9 by 4. All I'm doing is area equals 9 times 4. So area equals, what's 9 times 4? 36. So let's look at number 1 here, this yellow one. It says 2 inches is its base, and then it has a height of 6 inches. What am I going to do to solve it? 2 times 6. That's it. 2 times 6. So the area of this place is 12. Whoa, this is some weird looking guy. 1 by 13. What's the area? 13. Just because it's sideways, all you have to do in your mind is just pretend that you take your finger and you're straightening it out. That's it. That's all you're doing. For 3, 8 times 5. 40. For 4, 7 times 3? 21. That's it. So don't let that dotted line freak you out at all. Just know it's called something different. It's not length times width, it's base times height. But it's still the same process. That's really all it is. Now, to continue with our lesson, we'll come back and do some practice after this lesson. But if you were to now go into looking at areas of triangles, Triangles have 3 sides. How on earth am I supposed to find an area of something with 3 sides when I've only been working with quadrilaterals, basically? I've been working with 4 sides. I'm not going to estimate either. I'm going to get an exact amount. So let me show you. So if I were to go to triangles, basically, once again, I could give you a very complicated explanation with lots of pictures and whatnot, but I'm going to do something else. Guess what? Here it is. Triangles are area equals base times height divided by 2. That's it. Base times height divided by 2. That is it. I'll show you what I mean. Right? You're looking at me like, that's really? Seriously, that's it? Yeah, that's it. It's supposed to look scary and complicated, but it's not once you take a closer look. So here's how this works. You've got a triangle. Boop, boop, boop. And that triangle is, obviously, I can't make it into 4 sides. And if it says that my base is 6 and my height is 7, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be like, okay, well, what if I were to copy and paste? Everybody knows what it means to copy and paste, right? So what if I were to copy this triangle, Control C, and then paste it and make, well, now what have I made? It is literally, well, it's a parallelogram, but yeah, by copying and pasting an imaginary extra triangle there, that becomes a parallelogram, which now is 6 by 7. So this parallelogram is, what's the area? This parallelogram is 42. Well, now I have to get rid of, to cut it out. So Control C, Control V, and now Control X to cut it out. I get rid of that and have this left. If I'm going to get rid of that, I have to divide that by 2. 21. So this triangle, a triangle with a base of 6 and a height of 7, its area is 21. Not so bad, right? So if I'm looking at a triangle that is 9 by 2, area equals 9 times 2 divided by 2. Well, what's 9 times 2? 18. What's 18 divided by 2? 9. So area equals 9. What if I have one where the area is, or my base and height is 12 and 3? So 12 times 3. What is 12 times 3? What is 36 divided by 2?
18. No.
Yes, 18.
Yeah.
Not so bad, right? It's just an extra step in there. Now, we all know that not every number can be evenly divided. And when that happens, it just becomes a decimal. It just becomes a decimal. And I also want you to know that in our units of decimals, we never talked about multiplication. We never got that far into multiplication of a decimal. And some of these in here, like you'll see, this one down here says 6.5 times 8. We're not going to go into that. We're going to do one step at a time here. So if we ever see a decimal, we just take off that decimal. Just make it a whole number, okay? If you are doing the math and your division part ends up with a decimal, that's fine. The remainder is your decimal. But we're not going to worry about multiplying with decimals because we don't need to add the extra stress on top of that. Because remember, this is sort of a different unit. This was never in our actual curriculum for this year. This is old. So we're kind of throwing in some extra stuff to make sure we get a better understanding of area than what the current is giving us. Cool? So are we less freaked out about parallelograms and triangles?
Yes.
Parallelogram is base times height Triangle is base times height, divide by 2. And that is it. Now, when you're reading word problems for it, there's not going to be a picture for you to see. So what should you do? Draw a picture. Drawing a picture is so helpful because it allows you to visualize it. Writing it down like this every time, like I've done, helps you to visualize it and helps keep you organized. This in no way shows that you are weak. This does not show that you don't understand. If you have to write things down or draw pictures, that does not show that you don't understand. In fact, it shows the complete opposite. It shows that you not only understand, but you understand how to help yourself understand. So always draw a picture. Always write out the whole thing. Don't try and do it in your head. Don't try and do it in your head. It's not worth it. Your brain has to do too much already. Help it out. Write some stuff down. Okay?